Hello, Marie. How you doing?
I am well. Thank you, Jesus. How are
Oh
you?
my goodness. This is fantastic. Today we have Marie Khan. She's an amazing friend, and I'm really happy to have you for this second season of A Day in the Life of an Agility Enabler. Thank you for being here, Anne-Marie.
Thank you. I am grateful for the opportunity.
Awesome. So you asked me to, or I think that, I ask you, I don't know, to do what we do often before starting our conversations.
Yeah.
Do you mind to guide me with that?
Yeah. So I invite you to first to just take a moment to come to present, to ground ourselves. So just take a deep breath in. If it helps, you can gently close your eyes and ensure that your shoulders are open. And just take a deep breath in. And just gently release the breath. Think of your stomach. You have a balloon that you're blowing up. So breathe all the way to your center. And just gently release that breath. Take another deep breath in, all the way to your center. And just gently release that breath. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes.
Here we go.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I really need that.
Yeah, thank you.
It helps. Now, thank you for offering that. So, Anne-Marie, I know you a little bit, but this part of your journey, like everything or those elements that you have done that bring you here to be, helping leaders to transform. I'd love to know, to help, to ask you to let us know a little bit of those highlights that brought you here and had made you the person, the professional that you are. Could you help us with that?
Yeah, it's been an evolving journey over the last 7 years or so. Yeah. Yeah, I had a spiritual awakening is how I defined it at Scrum Gathering back in 2013. Yes,
Okay.
and it's meta skills work of Amy and Arnie Mendel. And I discovered my superpower back then. And I would say my superpower is around love and sharing love in the world. Yeah. And I discovered my purpose, and it gave me clarity into my purpose, my challenge, and my solution. Yeah. And it's been an evolving path. I've now started my own practice, my own coaching practice called Transforming Leaders. Yes, and it's to empower leaders to transform. Many of our leaders are leading from external, right? We're reactive, we're reacting to situations. And, really we want to be authentic to ourselves, right? And to be generative leaders, to be creative, to lead from within. When we understand our life purpose and have that clarity of what our life vision is and our values, we live life differently. We are more connected from within ourselves rather than looking externally for validation or comparing with each other or whatever the external thing is. What I tend to see in the world is I see a lot of fear in the world, sadly. And I just want to see love in the world. I want us to live in a place of love. Love is where people are authentically. If you look at kids, right, I think you have a 5-year-old or she's around 5.
I do.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
She's just magical.
Yeah. Cool. So if I got it right, so back then in 2013, you found your mission in life, like love. You were passionate about love, and after that, it has been an evolving journey up to where you are right now, where you started the coaching practice and to help leaders transform.
Absolutely, yes.
Did I get it right?
From 2013, I took Brené's course. I'm a big fan of Brené Brown. I took her virtual course regarding the gifts of imperfection. I've read most of her books, not all of them. I think the first one I hadn't read, but pretty much all of them after. I'm a big fan. Her most recent one, Dare to Lead. Yeah, and she, in her book on Dare to Lead, talks about grounded confidence. And that's something I've worked with most recently. graduating from Kaboom Coaching. I'm part of CTI. I started my CTI journey last year. All very deep personal transformation work. Right? As coaches, we have to transform, right? If we're wanting to work with others in organizations or even with leaders in organizations, because that's what I'm doing now, right? Because the work I saw within organization, being an agile coach in organizations, fantastic work in terms of like working with teams and empowering teams to, you know, evolve their practices and working with organization leaders to evolve things in the system, right? Because there are things in the system that don't serve us well, right? And we work with the leaders to evolve things in the system. All great work, I'm not discounting that. However, what I saw was we hadn't done work with people, the leaders, right? To really evolve the leaders. And this is what Esther Derby coined, old wine in new bottles, right? We changed the bottles, the labels, and, you know, the bottles themselves, but we didn't change the people, right? Or empowered the people to change. And, you know, essentially then that is constraining organizational agility, right? Because, you know, there's so much we can do with changing the system and, you know, the environment, which is all valuable. We need to do that as well. I'm not discounting that work at all, but I'm saying that we also need to work with the people to evolve the people, to empower the people to evolve and change, right? Like oftentimes you hear a lot of agilists and agile enablers like yourself. Oftentimes when you go into an organization and you're working with teams, many people say, well, you know, the team members don't have the agile mindset, right? Like we find that leaders are not having the agile mindset. Well, what are we doing to empower our leaders to evolve in their mindset, right? And grow as leaders. Stage growth development of leaders is the work of Lisa Leahy and Bob Keegan, and I'm a big fan of their work, right? Bob Keegan and Lisa have this model of adult development. We don't just stop growing because we become adults, right? We continue to evolve in our growth and development. So emotional intelligence is a big part of that, right? Connecting into our heart space. Oftentimes we've been developed in our, you know, schooling system, and even when we get into the world of work, that we've developed the left part of our brain, right? But we are whole people. We have a body, right? We have emotions and, right? Yeah. So there's a lot going on for sure.
Yeah, I see that. So I heard you talking about love and growing people and helping them, you know, be more human. It's my interpretation. So I'm curious to know more about, like, what do you value, Anne-Marie, as a person? Like, when you, I heard you about talking about love, talking about growing others, but you as a person, what do you value on that?
I value people, right? Love and connection with people. That's what I value. And to grow relationships with people, right? That human connection, right? Like a co-active conversation is one where two people, myself and yourself, we're sitting and having a conversation and our hearts are open to each other. Right? And that's what I'm here for, right? To share my love with the world. And also to do that with a sense of play, right? Like I laugh and I smile and, you know, just have fun together, right? You know, yeah.
So you mentioned like laughing, value people, and, you know, the human connection. And, you know, it's I don't know this part of you, so I'm gonna put my curiosity to the services of those that are watching this interview, and myself too. So I'm curious to know, what are the challenges that you have gone through, the main challenges, to be able to connect with yourself and become the leader that you have become.
Yeah, so there's things we're having to let go of, and it's starting with understanding or getting connected into that awareness. So in my journey, and it's part of an invitation for all leaders, is having some form of a reflective practice, a creative practice, and a physical practice. So, and the body is designed for movement, right? We're not like static people to sit in one spot, right? So dance or whatever, you know, I do practice Zumba, and I think once I started doing Zumba as a way to work out, it just let me.
I didn't know.
Zumba, yeah, I do dance Zumba as a workout class. And it's a lot of fun, right? But it got me to a place where I was less conscious of myself, because before that, if you met me back in university, I would say I was very conscious about, oh, what if people are looking at me? Well, nobody's caring about, you know, what you look like. They're just on the thing doing their own thing, you know, just having fun, you know. So once we connected to just letting go of, you know, the voice in our head that says, oh, you know, right, that just have fun with it, right? But also, you know, the notion of a creative practice and a reflective practice in our day, having time to reflect, whether that's going for a walk, right, without any predestination, that I'm not going like to the grocery store, I'm just going for a walk, right? And as you walk around the block among the trees and in the fresh air, you have time to reflect on your day. You know, what was the highlight of your day? You know, what went well, what, you know, you want to improve upon, you know, what are your wins today, and what, you want to improve upon. Maybe certain conversations you had, you want to, you know, you learn from it and you grow from it. Right? So it's an ongoing opportunity to reflection and having a reflective practice, whether it's journaling. For some people it's journaling, for some people it's meditation, some people it's a walk around the block. Not saying everybody's reflective activity is the same, but having some form of a reflective activity. And creative as well, right? Like if you watch Sir Ken Robinson's, he passed away sadly on the 21st of August. He has an amazing TED Talk online, right? Like, you know, we're all designed for movement or whatever expression of our creative activity is. Whether some of us like to dance, some of us like to sing, some of us like to write short stories and poems, whatever your creative expression is, to do that and do it every day. It brings out the joy in your soul and connects you with your heart space and, you know, that love within yourself, your divinity. I live that divinity daily.
How do you get to it, Anne-Marie? Because, you know, it's I have had the chance to interview several people, and most of you guys talk about, you know, going through a kind of, I don't know, self-evolution and self-growing and all that. So I'm curious to know, for those that are in the path, how do you know that you require that you need to, you face that, and what you do? Could you help us with that?
Well, I sense that often for some of us, there's a longing that along the way, there's a longing. Like that's kind of what transpired for myself, right? I mean, I grew up in a family where, you know, we study hard and you know, you're groomed for success, right? And everybody kind of have a sense of, you know, how you grow for success. You study hard in school, you do well in school, and, you know, after school, you go to university and you graduate from university, etc. Get a good job, you move up in the field of work, etc. Right? All of those things, right? So success, I'm not discounting the value of success, but also we as people don't want just only success. We actually, many people talk about wanting to be happy, and happy is a state that's temporary. What we really want is joy. Joy is this notion of bliss, and it's not external, it comes from within. Happy is a state that is external, that is temporary, right? You know, like if I eat a delicious ice cream, well, that's wonderful, and I want to have more of this delicious ice cream. It's temporary, right? But the joy comes from within, and that's connected with spirit, with the divine spirit. Like when my spirit, right, when my heart is connected with the divine source, then I'm joyful in that moment, and I have access to it any point in time, right? So throughout my day, I would find moments when I'm present with someone that I'm really enjoying this conversation and, you know, having fun with it like we are now, you know, then yeah, to me, that's a moment of joy, and I have access to it all the time from within myself. It's not like I'm looking for validation from external sources, or, you know, it's connecting from the true joy. Like I'm a part of the divine source.
But you know what, now, you know, the Anne-Marie that I have, the version that I have in front of me, it hasn't been that way all the time, right? She has evolved. So my curiosity brings me to where, do you recall a moment in your life where you said, listen, Anne-Marie, there's something that it's missing, or it's something that I need to go through to get connected to that divine energy of my own? Do you recall that? And if you recall it,
I think it's been an evolving path, right? Like I said, I had this awakening, the spiritual awakening at Scrum Gathering, right? Where it's meta state work, where we walk the circle, and they ask us to calm the brain activity, right? So I went in thinking, oh, it's gonna be fun. There's a game I want to play. I don't want to do any of the headspace stuff like planning and all that agile other stuff. I was like, oh, I just want to play. So I walked into the room and there was a big circle, and I didn't know that what it was about. And then as we walked the circle, they asked us to think of the words on the floor and, where's the energy drawing you? What word resonates for you, right? And as I walked that circle, what is my agile superpower? What word resonated for me? And I landed first on the wedge of playfulness. And, there was another coach there that, because I went to the conference with other colleagues from work. So one of my coworkers, he's a big, tall agile coach from Santa Clara, was there. And, we were in the same wedge, and people came up with, the idea of, like high five, right? For play in a corporate setting, and we all kind of went along with it. But at the same time, another person and I, a lady about my height, we made eye contact with each other, but we were visibly holding back. There was nothing that we were sharing, right? Like we knew we were holding back, right? And then they asked us to like do it again. And what do we see as our challenge? Think of a challenge at work, and what word is calling out to us. So again, we walked the circle, and then I landed on courage. And again, we made eye contact. Same lady and I were on the same wedge, and we're making eye contact. But again, we're holding back visibly, right? And we knew we were holding back. By the time they did the third round, I landed on curiosity, and the lady landed on the opposite wedge of collaboration. And at that point, I couldn't hold back anymore. It was a very vulnerable moment. And I shared that for me, I saw my life purpose in playfulness, right? Like playfulness, when you look at kids, naturally joyful and playful and giggling and laughing. That's the true essence of who I am. And I want more of that in my life. It's connected to my life purpose, right? To love and be loved, and to serve the divine and the divine living entities. That's what I see as my life purpose. Wow. And play is a way to connect into that, right? That's how I live it. And I saw my challenge as being able to have the courage to face my fears, because I have fears. We all do, right? And I saw that as my challenge, to stand up for myself, to stand up for my teams, to stand up and let my voice be heard, right? That's my challenge. And I saw my solution in having curiosity, right? To have open questions and ask, what's possible? I come with an open heart and an open mind, right? And as I shared my story, the lady was a mirror of me, and she followed me from playfulness to courage, but she saw her solution in collaboration, because she came to the conference with her colleague as well, but they had a different relationship. Whereas my relationship was one at work, where I didn't want my colleagues to see me, the whole of me, all of me, in my beauty and my magnificence. She had a relationship where she had a great rapport with her colleague. And therefore, if she has any challenges or whatnot, she'll go and have a collaborative conversation with her colleague, and they see each other as whole people, right? Different relationship. And we've remained connected. So in that moment of serendipity, I made a new friend.
Wow.
And my friend is from Texas, and she comes up every year for Coach Camp, and we have an amazing time together.
Wow. So it's coming from there.
Yeah.
Wow. So you let me try to get it right, because you said beautiful things there. So it was mainly through playfulness, where you find your essence. You reconnected with that, the joy of being a kid again, and where you created that that bond with people that pretty much strangers from one to each other. And then from there, it's like, okay, this is what it is. I mean, I need to evolve this and make it bigger and bigger, and continue exploring this through curiosity.
Yeah. So that's where I discovered people, the love for people, the joy for people, the connection, and then growing in the community from there. I'm a big part of Agile communities and love being part of the Agile community. And then connected with the Mind Camp community, which is a creative deep conference, and then the meditation community and practicing meditation. It's a path for sure that evolves over time. It's not a one and done, right? But you sense that, you're wanting to explore something, and, that's where I am, right? Like I was in that game or thought it was a game and wanted to explore, and I did, right? I went in and I played along, and in that moment, I made a new friend, and it's a serendipity, right? Like the divine has a greater plan for myself, and I believe that for each person, if you believe it or not, that there's something larger than oneself, right? And that's what I believe.
And now, it's something that is popping up is like you are one of the more, I don't know what to say because the words aren't enough, but you have been working a lot to bring the community, the East Canada community up. Like you have worked, you organize a lot of events, you are part of big communities. Is there any relationship between that moment, the Scrum Gathering, and you being part of organizing, year after year, all these events like a Play for Agile Coach Camp, and all of those that you are part of it that I'm not aware of?
I love community. I love community, and I love the people in the community and the connections for sure. And they evolved around the same time as well, right? Because I think it was in that same year, 2013, and then so around that same period of time, because it was in May in 2013 I was at Scrum Gathering, and around that time it was like in April I was at the Agile Open and TO, and for some reason we were struggling, right? The organizers at the time was struggling to bring Coach Camp to Toronto, right? Toronto didn't have as many connected pockets as it does now. It had one main part of the Agile community, certainly in Toronto. But however, it felt like it was a struggle. And I said, this can't be the case because I have gifts, right? My gift is I'm great at organizing. I've been part of a festival in Waterloo for many years. I was the director for 9 years with the local festival here, the Royal Medieval Fair. And, I can't not come to our coach camp, right? There can't not be a coach camp that I'm not able to come to. So if I'm able to share my gift of organizing to make it happen, then that's why I'm here. I'm here to share my gifts so that we can all, have a coach camp where we come and share our love and our gifts with each other and learn together and have fun together and play together and all of that. Yeah. I love community and connection.
I didn't know that you were, that this beautiful story about that coach camp who has been like, it has been a mark, the starting of my career, and the chief in my professional, personal life has started there in 2013, and you have been part of it. I organized it. Isn't it magical?
It is magical.
Here. Well, thank you for sharing that, Anne-Marie. Something that I'm curious to know is like you mentioned the gift that you have. What are the superpowers that you bring to the world?
My superpower is love.
Love.
Love. Yeah, superpower, love.
How do you put that into action? What are your ways, your mechanism? How do you do that? How do you transform?
So for me, on a daily basis, it's important that I ground myself. So my practices, I have my own meditation practice. When I get up in the morning, I have a practice. And that practice is a yoga meditation practice, but it's also a practice that I say in my gratitude prayer as well. So gratitude is a big part of living love for myself, and also generosity, right? I was raised with that value of generosity. So I revisited my values of, generosity, integrity, right? And honesty. They all actually fall under the umbrella or the overarching superpower of love. But superpower and value is an important value for myself. It's love, right? So when I look at all the other values that are important to me, right? Generosity, integrity, honesty, right? But also looking at like family and commitment, right? Like where do those fit? Well, they also fit under the umbrella of love. So love is this overarching value. It's the way I look at it for myself. And it's an important one.
And that, you know, it's now we're gonna go to the leadership path to see, you know, I know that you are transforming the leadership game and making it better from your corner. But you know, when you speak about love, the leaders that you help, how does that pass? Because, you know, sometimes love leaders, people that have been like, you know, commanding or leading an organization, CEOs, VPs, etc., CTOs. I don't know. It's love. It sounds kind of vague. So I'm curious to learn more about your experience about love with leaders.
So the notion of, you know, kindness, compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, the elements of love. And also, you know, in terms of leadership attributes, what are the attributes of leaders that we admire, right? So when we think of attributes of leaders, things like empathy, humility, curiosity, right? Those attributes come up all the time, right? And also connecting into our own creativity. Like I mentioned earlier, we're creative beings, whether I like to dance or sing or write short stories or play a musical instrument, the ways for me to express my creativity. So as leaders, if we want to grow create our leadership capabilities, it's really to grow in our creativity, but also connecting to our divinity of, you know, those what we call soft skills, but they're actually hard to master. Things like, you know, our communication skills, right? So that we truly listen to receive the other person and the idea that's being shared from the other person, right? Or even asking powerful questions, to be curious around, help me, Jesus, help me understand, you know, what's going on for you.
So it's kind of help me out, because you know, myself, I know, because I've been part of your, you know, your tribe. You have coached me, and I know what it is. But for those that are curious about this and how is this love being shared, it is kind of my interpretation. It's by offering yourself and you're listening and being curious about where the other person in front of you is, what are the challenges that the other person is going through. Basically, you're offering in a space of love to that person, so that person can grow in its own inner leadership and be whole.
Yeah, the person is already whole, right? But it's receiving the person. It's listening, right? Level 3, level 4 listening.
Yeah. And for, you know, again, curiosity, what are the challenges that you go through when you are helping leaders? The most typical challenges when you go and you know, just by yourself being there, what are the main challenges that you go through when you coach them and you help them?
Yeah, well, often challenges are on, like, leaders are very driven, right? Because in today's world, we're all driven. And I think that's part of Western culture. Eastern culture, to my understanding, is different, right? It's not as driven as North American culture. North American culture tends to be more success-oriented and, you know, profit-oriented and driven, right? Here's our strategy and what we're going to do to make things happen. So every day, most leaders are driven by that agenda, if you will, right? But if we are able to take a step back, right, and really look at what is our purpose. If we as people understand our purpose and live from that place of purpose, but then also look to see, well, what is the organization's purpose, right? Few organizations truly understand their why. Why are they in business, right? Like Simon Sinek talks about, start with why. And few companies do, like Apple do, right? Like Apple, when led by Steve Jobs, right, has its notion of why. They're here to create that amazing experience, right? Is what Apple has been about, right? And their products were then, you know, reflective of that. But if we as people understand our why, and then the organization then asks itself, and we are aligned on that why, we lead differently. We won't be as driven, right? We'd be more inviting of the best in people. And that's what I'm starting my practice in empowering leaders to transform, is for people to get connected into their own life purpose, right? And to lead from within, to draw upon the magnificence that's within us. Like there's magnificence in yourself, and I see it. I see the love in your heart and the curiosity and the joy that you share in the world, right? And that's what I'm sharing in the world, to share my love in the world so that I empower others, so that they're able to transform and be their true self, right? We over time mask ourselves, right? And I was doing that. I was hiding. I was not showing up. I was not wanting my coworkers to see the whole of me, all of these things, right? But it didn't serve me. And now I'm in a place where I've shifted from this life of success, and the path and the journey is a life of significance. Significance is meaning, right? What is the meaning? What is the meaning of my life? You know, I'm passing through this physical life. One day it will end, right? I mean, but I am eternal. I being my soul is eternal, right? So for the remainder of my journey in this physical life, I want it to be a meaningful one where I'm giving to others, right? So it's contribution and service is part of my purpose, right? And as we evolve into that place of contribution and service and love and living one's life with purpose, right? It's people who are connected into that. And I've seen people who are yourself, myself, and there are others in our community that are connected to that. People who have discovered in their own journey, their purpose, their vision and their values, right? The leading from within, and the different kind of leader than, you know, some leaders or many leaders that we see, which are driven from external, right? After to get the next promotion, or to get a bigger title, or to get more money, or, you know, right? Like when we're connected to the external and comparing ourselves with others and all of these things that go on externally, we're living from a place of fear, and we're also connected into the material world. When we're connected into that, it's never satisfying, right? I could get a bigger position and more money, and I'm still not satisfied, right? But when I'm connected to the true joy from within my heart, that's connected with the divine spirit, to God, that is flourishing all the time, and it's fulfilling all the time, and I have access to it all the time, right? So I stand in my greatness, right? With that. And it's empowering,
from
it's
inside,
liberating. Yes.
Yeah, you liberate yourself, and you are, it's kind of and it's beautiful to see it that way. My interpretation, Marie, of you offering your gift to the world, it's basically you are helping people to be themselves and offer themselves to the world. And when they do that, we do that. Everything is better, is infinite. It's you know, it's limitless.
Yes, absolutely, it's limitless.
Wow. Hey, hey, Anne-Marie, you know, it's been a pleasure. We have I think 5 minutes more. Time go fast when we talk about these things with people like you. I would love to know from yourself, what type of people could come to you? Because, you know, so what I'm hearing, it requires, in my opinion, and I'm just guessing here, some kind of self-awareness to, okay, there is something that is missing. I don't know. I wanted to lead from a different perspective. I don't know what people needs to be aware of to join you, to join this divineness that you mentioned.
Just be open. Just be open to it.
Just be open.
Yeah, be open to it. That it's an evolving path, right?
Maybe curiosity.
And the magnificence, yes, is within yourself.
Yeah,
Just
curiosity
bring
about
that
yourself,
curiosity. Yeah.
about what is, you know, others' perspectives, and what is possible.
Yeah. What is possible is you. Yeah. You are possible. You're a magnificent being from the divine source, and you are possible. right?
Wow.
And when you believe that and know that from within your heart, then yeah, there's no limit, right? You stand in your greatness all the time.
As a witness of that joy and that divineness, you know, I am divine because, you know, you have helped me with that a lot, Anne-Marie. Well, I cannot recommend you enough to be, you know, sharing your gift to the world. And I thank you for the time that we have spent together today, and for you to allow me to get to know you more. And also just to know where everything started, like the origin of my journey. I'm really glad that it has started with you and it continues with you. I'm really, you know, wow about that, and how powerful energy is. So I thank you for that. I also wanted to thank you in the name of the community for everything that you have done so far, that you have continuing doing for everyone in the East Canada and everywhere else in North America, for organizing beautiful and amazing events across North America and elsewhere. Thank you for that. Just for for being there. You have been a machine just propelling all that. And now that all leaders have a joy and the chance to be like, you know, supported and just joined by you, and more than guided. I think it's just connected through your own divineness. Well, it's amazing. It's a joy to have you here. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for the honor of having you here in you know, on this second season of A Day in the Life of an Agility Enabler. But before leaving, for those that are curious, like, you know, Anne-Marie, I'm not sure, love in her leadership. Well, I'm curious, but you know, would you have a word, you know, word of encouragement, like anything that you could tell? So, you know, those are watching this and they guess, is that, you know, is leadership for me? Should I go move forward? Is that Marie for me? What would you tell them?
I would say to choose oneself, that you are the gift, and know that you are the gift. Choose yourself.
Choose yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
you are the gift.
We are the gift.
Yeah.
With those beautiful words, Anne-Marie, I wanted to hug you from my limitless expansion in Montreal. You are right now physically on. Where are you right now?
In Waterloo.
You are in Waterloo. Okay.
That's right.
So I hope you from here, my friend. I wish we can meet soon, and you know, in person. I wish that. So thank you again for being an amazing human being.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Namaste.
Namaste.